There's something strange about dating that took me way too long to understand, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Girls tend to like you more when you stop trying so hard, which sounds completely backwards because when you meet a girl you actually like, your natural instinct as a guy is to put in effort. You know, you want to talk to her, you want to impress her, you want to show her you're interested, and you start thinking about what to say, how to act, how to keep the conversation interesting. You start putting in energy into the interaction, doing all of these things. But here's the weird part: the more you care about the outcome, the more pressure you put on yourself. And believe me when I say this, I have noticed this in my life time and time again, which is why I am dropping elite ball knowledge right now, okay? You, like, that pressure just changes your behavior. You start overthinking what you're saying. You start trying too hard to keep the conversation alive. And you start analyzing like every little reaction, every little detail. Did she laugh? How did she respond to that? Did she seem interested? I'm not really sure. Like, the more you analyze it, the less natural you become. Meanwhile, the times where you're most relaxed around girls are usually the times you don't really care that much. Maybe you're talking to someone you're not trying to impress. Maybe you're just joking around. Maybe you're distracted with other things going on in your life. In those situations, something really interesting happens. You appear more relaxed, you're more confident, you say whatever comes to mind without filtering every sentence. Like, you're not performing, you're just being yourself. And ironically, that's when conversations tend to flow the best. That's when girls tend to respond more positively because confidence is extremely easy to feel in conversation. But it's tough when you're just like analyzing everything. And look, we've all done it. And many of us, even though we know not to do it, we're still going to do it. The idea is trying to recognize and just do better the next time. Okay? That is the main takeaway for the video, but hear me out here. When someone is relaxed and comfortable in their own skin, the interaction feels natural. But when someone's trying really hard to make something happen, that energy kind of becomes obvious too. And I think this is something that a lot of guys struggle with, myself included. The moment that we meet a girl we actually like, our brain switches into performance mode. And believe me, that happens to me all the time. I don't know why it is. It's like a subconscious thing. You don't control it. You're turning into performance mode. Like, it's quite literally what it is, and it shouldn't be that way. But you only do it with girls that you think are really pretty or that you're romantically interested in pursuing. That is another thing I do want to mention. Suddenly we're not just talking to anyone anymore. We're trying to succeed. We're trying to impress, trying to avoid saying the wrong thing, trying to create the perfect interaction. But conversations just don't work that way. The best conversations are actually very messy. They're spontaneous, unpredictable. You're jumping from topics. We start talking about water. Next thing you know, we're talking about watches. Like, I don't know, it can just be anything. You say something random, she responds with something unexpected, and you just build off that. It's supposed to flow naturally, as if you're talking with your boys. Not in the same way, but like the flow of the conversation should be the same. And suddenly, what you are is you're just two people that are enjoying the moment. And that kind of interaction can't happen if one person is constantly analyzing the situation like it's a chess match. And again, I'm dropping elite ball knowledge because I used to do this with all the pretty hot chicks. Is I'd be analyzing the situation like it's a chess match. Bro, what are you doing? Anyways, this is where a lot of guys accidentally sabotage themselves, okay? We think that we need the perfect line, the perfect joke, the perfect moment, but most girls aren't sitting there scoring your performance. They're just reacting to the energy that you're bringing to the interaction. Are you comfortable? Are you confident? Are you relaxed? Are you interesting? Do you only talk about like work stuff, or do you actually want to know my hobbies, interests, all that jazz? Or also, do you seem like nervous, stiff? Do you seem overly focused on trying to impress them? Like, the energy, I don't know. I feel like girls just catch the vibe. It makes a huge difference. If we have any women viewers that want to chip in the comment section, feel free to do so. But ironically, the easiest way to create the right energy is just to stop trying so hard to create it. Like, focus on enjoying the conversation instead of controlling it. Focus on being curious about the person you're talking to instead of worrying about how you're being perceived. And most importantly, focus on having fun instead of trying to win the interaction, okay? Because the moment that you stop treating conversations like a performance, they start becoming a lot more natural. And that natural energy is what people respond to the most, okay? That's why some guys who don't seem to be trying very hard end up being surprisingly attractive. It's not that they're better looking, they don't have better lines than you. They're just comfortable being themselves. And people and girls find that attractive, you know? That comfort creates a kind of confidence that just doesn't feel forced. So if you ever find yourself overthinking every interaction with someone you like, remember something very simple. You don't need to impress someone to have a good conversation with them. You just need to be present and in the moment. And sometimes the moment that you stop trying so hard to make something happen is the moment that things start working naturally. And this is some really good advice because I relate heavily to it because that is what I am not doing, you know. I feel like with really pretty girls that I am romantically interested in, I'm always trying so hard to make something happen instead of being spontaneous. And the girls that I'm not romantically interested in, you know, the conversation with them is just, it's so easy, you know. And it's something that probably a lot of guys could relate to where you don't have a hard time speaking to women. It's just the woman that you find attractive because again, it's that performance mode. Like you want to do well with this one and suddenly you treat it differently, but you need to treat it all the same. Girls that have boyfriends, girls that are single, talk to them the same. There shouldn't be a different dynamic. It should just be a normal conversation. And I think that will really, really help you out because that natural energy, again, is what people usually respond to the most. They want to see that. Nothing should feel forced. It shouldn't feel stiff or nervous. It should just be like a normal conversation and you know, being comfortable, being relaxed, being confident in your own skin. It's not about who has the best pickup line, who's the most flirty. I don't think women are going to gravitate to that or they don't pay too much attention to that sort of thing, you know. A cheesy pickup line is not what gets the score. It is just about how you are, you know, enjoying the moment, having that conversation. And that is why you see that guys who don't care, that is why women are more attracted to them because, again, it's not feeling forced or anything like that. Let me know what you guys think on this video. If you guys agree with the points, if you guys have your own stories where it's a different situation. I feel like the ultimate thing is just to like stop trying too hard, you know? Just be yourself. Be yourself and the right one will come. That is my biggest piece of advice right there. It's not easy, you guys. It's not easy. It was never meant to be easy. But that's all I got for this video. Make sure you guys are subscribing. We got so many banger videos coming. You have no idea. You're going to want to be here for the ride. With that, we will catch you here on the next one.